Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and it is March 15th, and today we are going to be discussing NXT 2.0. We actually have a lot of stuff to go down here today that we're going to be talking about. For those of you guys who are wondering, yes, I was late to today's stream. Kind of have like a lot going on right now and a lot to do after this podcast. I was like, I'm late for the show. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about here today. For the most part, this was a pretty interesting episode of NXT 2.0. We are headed into NXT Stand and Deliver. We're just now, 3 weeks away from this show. So they are definitely building up to it. We got more matches that were announced here today and so much more to talk about in just a second. But as we get everything going here today, I just want to let you guys know that this is a very interactive show. At any point today, feel free to send in your thoughts, send in your comments, and I will be pulling some out. If you do want to make sure that your comment, question, or statement gets read on the stream, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. If you do send in a super chat, I will make sure to read your comment on the air, 100% guaranteed. And we actually got our first one of the night, and this is from a good friend here of the show, Nick Grasso, who says, hey, yo, rip to the founding father of the NWO and the true bad guy of wrestling. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. Thank you so much to Nick. This last couple, since the news and everything that broke yesterday, it has been kind of it's been tough. It's been hard to talk about this, especially on camera because, it's not an easy thing to do. Yesterday, Sean and I obviously discussed it more in depth on the Raw post show, which was when the news broke. So if you want to listen to that, you can. But the one thing, the only thing that's been nice, and I don't know what else, there's nothing nice about this situation. The only thing that's been nice is just seeing people's good experiences, stories, and just everything the way that Scott Hall impacted people. That's been very nice, but it's not an easy thing to talk about. And we did talk about that yesterday, but yeah, guys, it hasn't been easy. Thank you so much to Nick for at least sending in a really nice, quote from Scott Hall. So I do appreciate that. And let's go ahead and see what people are saying here in regards to NXT 2.0. And let's see. I think for the most part, I don't know. Did you guys enjoy the show today? I'm trying to see. I'm like, what are people saying? Did people enjoy the show? Did they not? I have a couple of people asking about Miz TV. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So we kicked off NXT 2.0 today with Miz TV. And so I checked what was happening on NXT. When was it? I think yesterday. So I didn't check today to see if Miz TV had been announced. So I don't know if Miz TV was announced ahead of time. I didn't see anything. Maybe I just missed it. So I don't know if this was announced ahead of time, but I didn't see it. So anyway, so I go on to today's show and I started watching, for the first time, I started watching NXT 2.0 about an hour late today. And thankfully I was able to catch up. And I started watching, right? So I go in, I put on NXT 2.0 and the Miz is on my TV and I'm like, oh no. For those of you who do not know, my number one thing that I'm starting to hate on wrestling and wrestling TV shows and all of this is talk show segments. Talk show segments are probably my least favorite thing to see now on Raw, on Smackdown, and NXT 2.0. I am not a fan of the talk show segments because they usually go nowhere. And so when I saw that we were having a Miz TV on NXT 2.0, I was like, why? Why are we going to have a Miz TV on NXT 2.0? A lot of people had been saying NXT 2.0 is a Raw light. And for the most part, there's been so much from NXT that I've enjoyed. So when I saw that we were doing a Miz TV, I thought great. This is now just going to be, and you can argue that it kind of is already like an extension of Raw. You can argue that, right? I don't think it truly is an extension of Raw, but to a certain degree, you do get that. And for this segment, I did feel that this was an extension of Monday Night Raw because you had The Miz, you had Robert Roode, and you had Dolph Ziggler in this opening segment. So basically, The Miz was there to interview Dolph Ziggler because Dolph Ziggler is now the NXT champion and he wanted The Miz to go ahead and interview him. So for me, this was kind of just like, all right, well, if I don't care about The Miz TV on Monday Night Raw, I'm going to care even less when it's on NXT 2.0. So the biggest question that we had was, what is NXT going to be like now with Dolph Ziggler as champion? Well, this kicking it off with Miz TV gave us a big indication of what NXT 2.0 would be like with Dolph Ziggler as a champion. So, the other thing that I want to touch on is like, I don't mind seeing main roster talent on NXT 2.0, and we've talked about this before. I don't mind it, but this opening segment did feel like a mini Raw takeover, to open the show. So I wasn't necessarily too in love with this, but I did like that this did lead to Dolph Ziggler versus LA Knight to be taking part in the main event. I feel like I got to give credit to LA Knight here because when he came out and he was interacting with The Miz and Dolph Ziggler and Roode and all these guys, he really fit in. The number one thing that we've been saying about LA Knight is that he has main roster quality. He has this main roster energy. He's great on the mic and all of those good stuff. And from the very beginning, so many people have been saying he should be on the main roster. He should be on the main roster. So seeing him associate with guys that are on the main roster, it really did feel like he actually belonged with them. So I do want to give him credit there. And we'll talk about The Miz versus LA Knight. LA Knight versus Dolph Ziggler later on. We'll talk about that in just a second. But there was a specific thing that I didn't want to forget to talk about. There was a moment during this where Dolph Ziggler basically tells LA Knight, and this was probably my favorite line in a way because it was my favorite line in a way that I loved this line, but I also hated it because Dolph Ziggler tells LA Knight that he only fights superstars and basically says like, you're not a superstar just yet. I thought that was such a burial though of LA Knight. So in some ways it became my favorite line just because it was probably the most memorable out of this entire opening segment. But other than that, I mean, there really isn't anything else to say about that until we actually get to the main event here. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying here. This was, we got a comment from Walter Johnson who says, Ziggler and Robert Roode doing double work, Raw and NXT. Yup, they definitely are. Matt Logan says Raw talent was already in Florida, so that's why it's easy to use them. Stellar Justin Lopez says Roode, 45. Miz, 41. Ziggler, 41. LA Knight, 39. This is supposed to be a developmental show. I'll just leave it at that. We got Christopher saying LA Knight is going to be on the main roster in the future. He has been getting over more so on the NXT 2.0. Like the CWC people have been, he's been getting over with them. So good for him. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. But before I do want to read this comment from Zeno Hour who says, Dolph called LA Kid. Dolph is 41 and LA Knight is 39. There was a similar situation that occurred with Tommaso Ciampa and Dolph Ziggler when Dolph Ziggler called Tommaso Ciampa Kid, and Tommaso Ciampa is actually, or did I get it in reverse? There was something that went down with Tommaso Ciampa and Dolph Ziggler, and I remember tweeting about it and it being hilarious. But let's go ahead and move on from here. Throughout the night, we get Cora Jade being kind of a little bit of a troublemaker here, but in a good way. So Cora Jade is angry that Toxic Attraction essentially took out her friend Raquel Gonzalez in their match when they were trying to qualify, or trying to rather continue on in the NXT Women's Championship Dusty Rhodes Cup Classic. I already messed that up. But Raquel was essentially taken out by Toxic Attraction. So Cora Jade has been trying to essentially get revenge on Toxic Attraction for what they did to Raquel Gonzalez. Cora Jade adds that Raquel Gonzalez is going to be out for 46 weeks. All right. So she ends up revealing that she stole the belts, the championship belts and the NXT championship belt, that she stole all 3 belts. And so she did it as a way to get Toxic Attraction to come look for her so that she can kind of mess with them. Throughout the night, we see them go at it in the sense that we see Cora Jade lock one of them up in like a trash bin. She locks one of them up, and then I forgot how she gets rid of the other person. I might have fast forwarded through that segment. But then at the end, we get her going into her car, and I'm thinking Cora Jade is about to get kidnapped because someone always gets kidnapped in that parking lot. And I'm like, who's getting kidnapped today? So she gets into her car, and Mandy Rose is behind her. Mandy Rose is sitting in the car in the back seat, and she kind of looks like she puts a black bag over Cora Jade's face. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Mandy Rose is going to kidnap Cora Jade. She doesn't. They end up brawling, and this is pretty fun. I like the brawl. I don't mind it. They did announce that we're going to be seeing Cora Jade versus Mandy Rose at NXT Stand and Deliver, so it's all good there. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying in regards to this. Drew Scott says, gotta watch out for those skaters always causing trouble. Hey, I don't know if they can skate in the NXT parking lot. Can they? I don't know. They usually got signs for that stuff. YT says, I love these segments with Cora Jade, serious Home Alone vibes, where she's taking out all the bad guys, taking them out. I love that. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here, guys. So after this, we get into a qualifying match. As we all know, at NXT Stand and Deliver, we're going to be seeing Carmelo Hayes defend his NXT North American Championship in a ladder match. And we've been having qualifying matches tonight to basically see who is going to fill those spots. So we had Santos Escobar versus Cameron Grimes, and what I thought was a pretty fun match. I love this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. But I got to tell you, when I saw that Santos Escobar got the jobber entrance, I thought, might as well just tell me that Cameron Grimes is going to get the win here. So I kind of went into this thinking, okay, we're going to get a good match, but it's going to be Cameron Grimes that gets the win here. But I'm rooting for Santos Escobar. But when he got the jobber entrance, I thought, it ain't gonna be him. But anyways, this was fun. I think my favorite thing about this was really all of the striking that we saw between both guys. We saw Santos at one point like chopping Grimes. Grimes comes back with a bunch of kicks to the chest, and then we see a really nice running drop kick from Santos Escobar to Cameron Grimes. That was all good. We got a really nice cannonball from Grimes to Santos. That was a fun moment there. We end up seeing Cameron Grimes go to the top rope, and he's about to do like a crossbody onto Santos, but Santos ends up getting his knees up, and so that's kind of a little bit of a turning point there during the match. But we continue on to see Santos Escobar hit Grimes with a knee to the face. Again, we see Grimes end up getting him with a couple of super kicks. That was good too. And finally, for the win, we see Santos Escobar hit the tornado driver and get the win. And I was so happy when he got this win. I was so freaking thrilled because you guys all know that I'm a fan of Santos Escobar. I want to see him get his flowers on these shows. So I was very happy that he got this win and happy that he is going to be added to this ladder match. Am I expecting him to win? Probably not. I'm actually expecting Carmelo Hayes to retain. But regardless, I think he's going to add a whole lot to that ladder match, and I'm looking forward to it. We got a super chat from Heidi Ho 77 who says they should change the name of the show to NXT 2.0. I think I had somebody on Twitter. Sorry, guys. I had somebody on Twitter make a similar joke, and I think somebody also called it Euphoria NXT, like Euphoria and NXT mixed together. I think it's more like Bridgerton. Has anybody here watched Bridgerton on Netflix? That is one very, very steamy show. There is like making out and hanky-panky all over that show. By the way, I love that show. Just throwing that out there. But anyways, that's what this. Well, I'm not going to say NXT reminds me of Bridgerton because they do it differently in Bridgerton, okay? I don't want to bury Bridgerton. I'm a fan of that show. I'm moving on into a whole other direction here. But let's go ahead and continue on from here. Let's get into Kushida versus A-Kid. So I got to tell you, I recall last week, basically, once we found out that A-Kid was going to be making his NXT debut, I basically let you guys all know, like, I legitimately did not know what to expect from him. I was told that he was really good, but that was the extent of that. I didn't get to see any of his work in NXT UK, so he was completely new to me. All I knew was what I had been told was that he was good. That was about the extent of that. Once I figured out, like, people kind of basically told me, like, what his style was, and knowing that they put him in this match with Kushida right off the bat, I figured, all right, if this is this guy's style, it's going to be good that he's in this match with Kushida. So I was looking forward to this match a whole lot, and I got to tell you, I don't think it disappointed whatsoever. I thought A-Kid's debut was absolutely great. I loved it because I really did feel like, first of all, a lot of credit to Kushida. A lot of credit because he was truly the perfect opponent for him here, especially in this debut match where he needs to make a splash. And I love this because we saw a lot of, right off the bat, you can see that A-Kid was going to be, athletic, but you saw his technical work right away. What was the most enjoyable part of this match was not only the speed in which A-Kid brought to the ring, but more so seeing him put Kushida in submissions and also vice versa, seeing Kushida put him in submissions and him countering them or transitioning them into something else. There were some really good moments throughout this. One of my favorite moments was sorry guys, I wrote this down and then I forgot it. All right. There was a moment where Kushida got him in an armbar and A-Kid ended up transitioning and getting out of it and literally getting him in a really nice like bridge. I really enjoyed that. That was really cool. There was also, we got a lot of like kip ups from him. We've got the Northern Light suplex from him into a bridge. That was really nice. A really good enziguri from A-Kid. That was good too. I loved the finish as well. So we saw a springboard moonsault into a DDT from A-Kid to Kushida for the win. Now, I know some people were like, man, this sucks for Kushida, that he had to take the L, this and that. Unfortunately, they haven't really been doing much with Kushida ever since they transferred him over to Jacket Time, and he's been, doing that with Ike Manjiro. They haven't necessarily done much of anything with them. They did have a couple of hot matches here and there, but nothing that has led us to believe that they're going to actually push them as serious contenders. So for me, I thought that this was a great way to not only introduce A-Kid, but getting him the win, because they also announced that it's going to be A-Kid versus Grayson Waller in a qualifying match for the NXT North American Championship ladder match taking place at Stand and Deliver. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to have A-Kid in that match, and there was no way that he was just going to go into this qualifying match without at least getting one win on NXT. So he's got the win from Kushida. I really hope that they're pushing him. He's what NXT 2.0 is for, is to build new stars. And A-Kid is definitely one of them. I think he's like 24 years old, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure he's 24 years old. So they're going to be pushing the kid. The kid is good. I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for him. Let's see what people are saying here. Let's see what we got. And let's see what people are saying here. This one is from Pile Driver Finisher, who says, it wasn't perfect, but they put in the match and it happens. I liked it. I really liked it. Scott George says A-Kid got the dreaded jobber entrance for his debut. Tony says A-Kid would be an excellent contender for the North American title in the future, for sure. We got Zeno Hours saying, I highly recommend checking out Dragunov versus A-Kid for the NXT UK title from a few months ago. Actually, yeah, I had a few people that suggested this match along with like 3 other matches from his stuff in NXT UK. So I had a couple of people suggest some good stuff there. And let's go through a couple more comments and see what people are saying in regards to this. Yeah, people putting over this match. I agree. Put over this. You know what? I like A-Kid. I'm rooting for him. Sean Williams says he should change his name to an adult or something. Nah. I saw a lot of people making fun of him online for being called A-Kid. Come on, guys. There's worse out there. There's worse out there. Like, I almost feel like people were just like shitting on the name, but we hadn't even seen him yet, man. Like, we hadn't even seen him on NXT 2.0. Granted, a lot of people had already seen him on NXT UK, but for those of us who had not seen him yet, I feel like making fun of the name was just like, all right, now we're just reaching. Yeah, we're just reaching there, I think. All right, let's go. Cadillac Carson says, hope Andrade doesn't go after A-Kid. Dude, I love this. Thank you so much for making me laugh here. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. All righty, so afterwards, we got a backstage segment. Okay. This was a little cringe, all right? This was a little cringe. We got a backstage interaction between Santos Escobar along with Legado del Fantasma, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic. And first of all, I'm watching, and it took me like 5 seconds to be like, wait, why the hell is Rey Mysterio and Dominic on NXT? Like, it was one of those things where I was like, it didn't hit me right away, but when it did, I thought, what the hell is going on? And I immediately thought, okay, if we're going to do Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, I am here for it. I am not going to complain whatsoever. And that's what I really want, and that's what I still want. I want to see Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio. Anyways, so I don't know where to begin here. Okay. Santos Escobar says that he's the best luchador. Right? Okay, cool, whatever. And then Rey Mysterio and Dominic come along, and Rey Mysterio basically says that, that the future of lucha is going to be Dominic. All right? He says that the future of lucha is going to be Dominic. And I'm like, bless your heart, Rey Mysterio. I bless your heart. I love you, Rey. I respect the hell out of you. You're one of my freaking favorites. But no one, and I mean no one was buying that line whatsoever. Nobody. And I felt bad. I felt really bad. But I freaking loved freaking Legado de Fantasma's reactions. We had freaking Raul and Joaquin. They were like, Dom! I don't know. I can't sell it the way they did it. I can't replicate it. I can't duplicate it, okay? Go back and watch their reactions. It was actually pretty freaking hilarious. But it was one of those things where I'm like, damn, like, I get it. Like, I get we're trying to push Dom, but nobody was buying that line there. Anyways, this turns into a match, which we will talk about in just a second. We are going to see Raul Mendoza versus Dominic later on in the show. I will get to that in just a second. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead, and we got Tony who says Andrade versus A-Kid equals a dream match, ? No, keep A-Kid away from Andrade. Keep him away. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. And let's see, after this, we got a quick match between Tiffany Stratton, who defeats Sarray. To be fair, she was attacked before the match. So Tiffany attacked Sarray before the match. Really quick match. She takes away her necklace. So I guess I brought her bad luck. Really quick victory for Tiffany Stratton. This wasn't, if you're a Sarray fan, I'm sorry, but you probably did not love this segment because it didn't make her look very they've been making her look like a little bit childish, and this was along the lines of childish for Sarray. So if you are a Sarray fan, I'm sorry, you probably weren't the biggest fan of this, but what can you do? Daniel Rodriguez says, I can see Denise Salcedo joining Legado del Fantasma and go for the tag titles. Yeah, I feel like Elektra Lopez would kick my ass. She would just look at me and I would run because I'm a chicken. Elektra Lopez would kick my ass. There's only room for one heifer. It ain't me. Electra Lopez would kick my ass. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. All right, so we got a pretty lengthy Tommaso Ciampa promo where he basically comes out and talks about his career in NXT, talks about wanting his fairy tale ending. This took a lot of time, so I'm not even going to recount everything that happened because he pretty much just talked about his career, how much he loves NXT. The crowd was chanting one more match, and then Tony D'Angelo comes from behind, ends up giving him a low blow. And from the looks of it, this is probably going to be a match at NXT Stand and Deliver, which I'm looking forward to that. They've been doing a good job with Tony D'Angelo and pairing him up with guys that are legit badasses, and they make Tony D'Angelo look really good. Like everything Tony D'Angelo did with Pete Dunne, I was a fan of all of that. So I think that they can do something similar or along the same lines with Tommaso Ciampa and Tony D'Angelo. So they've got something there. I like that. And Daniel Rodriguez says the way Ciampa was talking, I thought he was going to you thought he was going to do the Mark Henry route where he swerved the crowd. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I remember everybody was talking about that for like days on end. YT says, I didn't like the segment. It made Sarray look like a jobber after building her up for all this time. Well, to be fair, they were building her up on the old NXT, not the new NXT. The new NXT, it's not the same. That's why I said, like, I feel bad for Sarray fans, guys. Feel bad for Sarray fans. Lemon CEO says, is Denise a chicken? Yes. I would get my ass kicked, all right? I just talk about it, can't do it. I'm a great talker. No upper body strength. That's about it. That's all I've got, guys. That's all I've got. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. We got a match between Indi Hartwell versus Persia Parada. And this was by far the juiciest segment of the show. And by juicy, I don't mean like juicy as in like, oh, it was so good, we got so much juice out of that. No, I mean like hanky panky, the naughty. I don't know what else to say. The H word for NXT, okay? Indi Hartwell and Persia have been basically... All right, so let me explain this really quickly. Indi Hartwell's married to Dexter Lumis. We know that. Persia Parada is now dating Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson used to date Indi Hartwell. So then there was a moment where we had this interaction between Indy and Duke Hudson, and Dexter Lumis caught like the tail end of it, and he thought that Indi Hartwell was like cheating on him, but she wasn't. So there was miscommunications. So Dexter Lumis stopped talking to Indi Hartwell. We hadn't seen him since because he was heartbroken because he thought that she was two-timing him with Dexter. But in reality, it was Persia who's with Duke Hudson. Okay, great. You're all caught up now. So Indy and Persia are now feuding, and they're feuding because they let boys get in the way of their friendship. They used to be friends, but boys got in the way and ruined it all. So they're having their match. Persia's mocking Indy for not knowing where Dexter Lumis is at. Fast forward to what happened in the end. We saw Duke Hudson. He's there on the corner of Persia. And as he's about to start getting involved in this match, we end up seeing Dexter Lumis come back, and he creeps up from behind. And so they have their little interaction. And this essentially allows Indi Hartwell to get the win here. And what we end up having is like this couple kiss off. Wade called it a smooch off. They make out and they compete on who makes out better, I guess. You had both couples on both ends of the ring, and one would kiss, then the other one would kiss more passionately, then the other one would kiss even more passionately, and then we had another passionate kiss between Persia and Duke, and then to top that off, Indy jumps on Dexter Lumis. She like jumps on top of him, and she just like starts going to town on his face. And afterwards, you see Persia do the exact same thing with Duke Hudson. And what you got is 4 people making out in the ring, looking like an orgy. That's what it was. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I need permission from my mother to watch NXT 2.0. I don't know how my mom would feel about this. Denise, why are you a grown woman watching people make out in a wrestling ring and then talking about it on YouTube. Well, Mom, my mom wanted me to be a doctor, guys. That didn't work out. Thoughts on this, guys? I don't know what to say. I want to talk about, like, who is this for? Like, who is entertained by this, all right? Legitimately. Because I know 13-year-old boys. I have a lot of 13-year-old boys in my family, okay? I got a nephew who's 13. I have a brother who's 13. I have 2 twin brothers that are 12. I have cousins that are all 13, 14, 15. I have a big family, guys. I'm Mexican. There's a shit ton of kids here in this family. I know a lot of these kids, and I've seen what they watch, and none of them, at least not in public, are watching any of this type of, like, making out sort of stuff. They watch stupid shit. Like, the stupidest things that you can think of is what they watch, like boy humor. I don't get boy humor, but that's what they watch. They watch some guy on YouTube chugging a boot full of beans. I know this because they made me watch it. I don't know. All right, let's see what people are saying here. Let's get some comments here. Cadillac Carson says, yep, as boys get in the way and ruin everything. Daniel says mixed tag match at Stand and Deliver. Yes, that's where it's looking like it's heading here. Lemon CEO says live sex celebration territory. It sounds like. God, I'm trying to remember how old I was for that live sex celebration. All I know is that, like, Lita was my hero at this point in time. And so, like, I was a kid and, like, finding out that there was going to be a live sex celebration. I didn't even know what sex was, but I knew it was something that I couldn't watch. And then I was also there for HLA. I was there for HLA in person, guys, and with Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie was my hero too. So, yeah. I was a very confused child. Lemon CEO says this is for the 65-year-old demographic. I don't know, because my grandparents are also 60 and they watch reality TV, like dancing competition shows. But then again, they don't watch wrestling. So I don't know what other people are doing out here. I don't know what people do for fun here. And let's go ahead and see what else we got here. I'm going through some more comments and trying to find some good stuff here. Nicholas Jacobs says, I thought they were going to have a softcore session on NXT 2.0. Good Lord. I don't know what softcore is, so I'm just going to move on from that. And let's get some more comments here. Corey says, do you have a link to that guy chugging stuff? Sounds awesome. I actually don't remember his name, guys. I don't remember his name. I went over for the holidays. That's what the kids made me watch, and they popped for the parts where the guy was making gagging sounds. I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. We got a super chat from HeidiHo77 who says, you have to light the candles and dim the lights for NXT 2.0. Put on some lingerie, put on some Mariah Carey in the background, put on the records. Jesus, I'm glad nobody watches me watch that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Actually, my mom's on Twitter too, so she must see some of this. My mom, bless her heart, she sees a lot of stuff that I put on there. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. Let's get into Raul Mendoza versus Dominic Mysterio. So, first and foremost, this is actually the best that we've seen from Dominic. You know what? Kudos, Dominic, man. This is actually the best that we've seen. I'm glad, because if not, this would have just been, like, really, really bad. But this was not bad. I will say that much. Like, granted, you know, you can criticize this and that about Dominic. I get it. But this was not the worst thing, okay? It was not. Let me see what I want to talk about in regards to what actually happened here. What I do want to say is this, though. I do think that both Raul and Joaquin as Legado del Fantasma have really been doing a phenomenal job on NXT. They legitimately have. And it really sucks that they're not necessarily, I think they should be treated more in terms of, they should be treated as a team that you takes more seriously, like the way that you have Imperium presented, like the way that you have MSK presented. But I always feel like they're treated as like two things. One, just like a goofy like team. Okay. And two, just the guys in the shadows of Santos Escobar. But in reality is all the matches that we've seen with Legado del Fantasma, they have been a good team. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be portrayed as a team that should be taken a lot more seriously on the roster. And so to be honest, it kind of bums me out when I see that. So to me, like to kind of see them, you know, sort of be like pushed into this storyline with whatever they're doing with, you know, Dominic and all of this. To me, it kind of feels like, nah, they deserve better storytelling. They deserve a lot better storytelling. That's the best thing that I can say in regards to this. I really do think that they deserve better, but they keep just being seen in one position. They keep being boxed in this is like, they got to do more with their Latino talent. This is they are capable. This isn't just like a it's just I'm trying to find the right words that aren't going to piss off people, but the right words are this isn't just give somebody a spot because they're Latinos or just give somebody a spot because we need Latino representation. No, it is they've actually worked hard, are good at their job, and can actually and have demonstrated that time and time and time again. And there have been no rewards. There have been no rewards for them. Same thing with Santos Escobar. No rewards. Constantly, like he did such a good job at NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Never went above, not even for the NXT North American Championship. Same thing for Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. Like they're seen, I feel like the way that they're portrayed, they're kept in one spot. And so for me, it's just kind of like, all right, whatever, but they deserve better. Anyways, we continue on with this match. We see Elektra Lopez get involved, Fallon Henley get involved, Briggs and Jensen get involved. Rey Mysterio sucker punches Santos Escobar. So maybe at least I'm hopeful that we're going to get Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar because I'd look forward to that. Dominic gets the win. He hits the 619 and the frog splash on Raul Mendoza and gets the win. Like I said, to be fair, this is the best we've seen from Dominic. So that was good. Thumbs up for him. Thumbs up. And let's go ahead and see what people are saying here. We got people putting over this match. Yeah, it wasn't bad, guys. Like, it wasn't bad. Someone says the show's an ad for Blue Chew. Let's go ahead and continue on. Trying to see what people are saying here. Here's another thing, because we got this comment from Scott George who says Dominic needs to bulk up a bit. He moves around like he's got cement in his boots, very heavy feet. That's not even like on top of this. I think it's also like the portrayal of Dominic. Let me double check, guys. I tweeted this before, but I don't remember what the numbers were. Dominic Mysterio is 24 years old. Okay, so he's the same age as A-Kid, but he is also the same age as Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is also 24 years old. And Braun Breaker is portrayed like a man, like, a man. We don't see Dominic being portrayed that way. I think if they want to legitimately make him into something, they need to portray him in a light that is different in terms of like portraying him more as a man versus a son versus just a kid, etc. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know how else to say that. All right, let's go ahead and see. This is a comment from Pal Driver Finisher who says, I'm happy for Dominic. Glad to see a bit of a build. He does need to train hard because he does botch with the scissors takedown, but I have hope for the son of Rey Mysterio. All right, and let's go ahead and move on from here. Alrighty, let's see what we got after this. We do got a super chat from Cadillac Carson who says, for what it's worth, I've heard that WWE is looking for their top Hispanic star and they've have it in Santos and Legado. They've been looking for their top Hispanic star for like ever. Ever. That's definitely not new information. But thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in the super chat here. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. After this, we got the Creed brothers and Malcolm Bivens. I love Malcolm Bivens. Please put more Malcolm Bivens on my television. He doesn't even need to be talking. The guy is just funny. Oh, I love him. I love Malcolm Bivens. Like, if I ever meet Malcolm Bivens, I'm just going to be like, thank you. That's it. Malcolm Bivens is going to get a big hug from me someday. That's probably creepy. I shouldn't have said that. All right, let's see what we got here. He's just so funny. All right, anyways, so they come out, they're pissed off. As you guys recall, last week they were taken out in the parking lot. At first, we all thought they had stomach aches. No, there was weapons dropped on them. They were attacked. They were blindsided. They don't know who did it. It's the big mystery. So they're pissed off. They're coming out and they're trying to find out who it is that actually did this to them. We end up seeing MSK coming out and they paid tribute to Scott Hall. We see them coming out with the NWO shirts, and I think it was it was Wes who said hey yo. And then also they basically say that they're the ones that they did not do the attack on the Creed brothers. Imperium comes out and they basically announce that they're willing to do a triple threat tag team match. So it is announced that at NXT Stand and Deliver, we're going to get the Creed brothers, MSK, and Imperium all in a triple threat tag team match. So that should be a really good one. I'm looking forward to that. On top of that, we got later on in the show, Malcolm Bivens is still trying to figure out who it is that attacked the Creed brothers. And this is funny because the whole entire time that they were backstage, I think he was there with the grizzled young vets and the Creed brothers. And it was so funny because he was just like, looking, making all of these funny expressions. He was angry. He was also there with Malik Blade and Idris Anofi. So all of that was really funny. But we are going to get the Grizzled Young Vets and the Creed brothers next week. Drove Struffs, I can't say that name, says Malcolm Bivens is like the overzealous employee at the T-Mobile store trying to push an Android on you when you want an iPhone. Hey man, like, first of all, I'm an Android user, a proud Android user, okay? And yes, my 16-year-old sister bullies me enough for being an Android user, okay? I get bullied so hard by a 16-year-old because I'm an Android user. But either way, if Malcolm Bivens wanted to sell me an iPhone, and I've never had an iPhone, I should tell you this right now, and I've been saying I'm not going to get an iPhone, Malcolm Bivens can sell me an iPhone. Hell, he can sell me a flip phone. We got a super chat from Cadillac Carson who says, I think we've covered this, but remind me again, why does this crowd hate MSK? They were chanting BS at them tonight. I don't want to touch on that, guys, because that's like, there's just too much to go into all of that stuff with MSK. It is on the internet. You can find it there. I don't want to touch on that, but let's continue on. Thank you so much to Cadillac Carson for sending in the super chats. Let's go ahead and continue on from here. And Raymond Cosa says, Bivens is gold. Love that guy. Everybody loves that guy. I agree. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. So, Daniel says Malcolm Bivens needs to be on your podcast. Dude, hell yeah, I would love Malcolm Bivens as an interview. Are you kidding me? I would just sit there and just listen to him interview himself. It'd be great. All right, fellow Android users, rise. All right, we get bullied enough on the internet for being Android users. All right, after this, we do find out we are going to get 2 NXT North American qualifying championship matches next week to see who's going to qualify to be in that match at Stand and Deliver, the ladder match. Solo Sikoa versus Roderick Strong, A-Kid versus Grayson Waller. For Solo Sikoa and Roderick Strong, I think that they're probably best putting in Solo Sikoa, but I think this one could really go either way. A-Kid versus Grayson Waller, I do think that it should be A-Kid. And they would join Carmelo Hayes and Santos Escobar, who's obviously, well, one is the champion and the other person qualified today. Also, we got some matches here for Stand and Deliver that have been announced, and this is taking place April 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's going to be an early show on the day of WrestleMania, night 1. And, or is it night 2? April 2nd. Ooh, night 1, night 2. Somebody correct me here. Anyways, oh yeah, night 1, because night 1 is on Saturday. Yeah. Okay, so night 1 of WrestleMania in the morning, we are going to have NXT Stand and Deliver. So, matches that have been announced. We mentioned it earlier, the triple threat tag team match, Imperium versus Creed Brother versus MSK, and then Tommaso Ciampa versus Tony D'Angelo, and then the NXT Women's Championship match, Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade. All good stuff there. Alrighty, and lastly, we got our main event, Dolph Ziggler versus LA Knight for the NXT title. Again, this was made at the top of the show. I LA Knight is over with the CWC crowd. I already mentioned that. I think the most impressive thing that he does, like in the ring, I really like his superplex. That's probably the only thing I really want to put over. Dolph Ziggler retains. Braun Breaker comes out and takes out Robert Roode, challenges Dolph Ziggler to a rematch. And I think we all kind of figured out that we already knew based on the story that we're probably most likely going to be seeing Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker at Stand and I keep wanting to say, oh yeah, it is Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver. Alrighty. So that is the show, everybody. That was NXT 2.0 here today. Tomorrow, I will be back to talk about AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam. And there is a lot going down. One of the big matches that is taking place is Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship inside of a steel cage. Will we see a brand new AEW Women's World Champion in La Mera Mera Thunder Rosa? We will find out. A lot more is also set for that show, so make sure you guys go ahead and check it out. Lastly, before I go, just a quick promotion. If you haven't been on my Twitter as of yet, I shot today an interview, probably like almost an hour-long interview. It's like 45 minutes, I believe, with Joey Janela. And Joey and I basically talk about Spring Break 6 that's coming up during WrestleMania weekend. We talk about GCW, the growth of GCW. And on top of that, he also basically talks to me about his future with AEW. So he did reveal to me that he will not be re-signing with AEW. And he is going to talk about why he's not re-signing with AEW in that interview. Check it out because it's going to be pretty interesting. So that'll be going up tomorrow on my YouTube channel, I believe at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is when that goes live. So please make sure you guys check it out. It really means a lot to me when you guys go and watch these interviews and help promote them, because the more interviews that I do, the more that, views it gets, the more better chances of more interviews that I get to do. So please go check those out, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. But other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow night for AEW Dynamite. Bye, everyone.